Welcome back once again to the Love Inspired Leadership Podcast. We are so happy that you have made the decision to be here. And today we're going on a really interesting journey. And it's really about when, as women, our alignment replaces the hustle and the bustle, and how truly self love is what changes everything with clarity, and with the human design can lead you home to who you are authentically. So I'm feel very blessed today with my guest. We had the honor of meeting in Boston at a conference about positive psychology, and we heard many very intelligent people speak from different universities, different positions and backgrounds, and we both learned so much, and we had a lot of fun too. And we sat beside each other at the gala event, all dressed up, and we just had great conversations. So I knew that she would be a great guest for you, my audience, on this podcast. So I just want to be able to introduce you to her first of all. And her name is Nani Chesire, and she's the founder, author, mother, and human design guide, whose work gently reminds us that success doesn't have to be heavy to be meaningful. And it's through her work with human design tools. And if you haven't heard about that in the past, you will today. And it's absolutely powerful and life-changing. And what Nani does is help women release the shoulds and reconnect with their inner truth and make decisions that feel genuinely good in their bodies, in their minds, and in their spirits, which is truly in their lives. So if you've ever been in that place that you feel overwhelmed, of course we all have, and or disconnected from your true self, from yourself, we've all had that too, or unsure, well, which voice inside myself can I trust? So this conversation is going to feel like a deep exhale in a loving return to yourself, to who you really are. So, Nani, thanks for saying yes to be here.
Thanks for having me, Carolyn.
I'm just thrilled. I know where we're going to go is good, because I love the way you look at things and the way you think through things too. So let's start with the theme of the body's wisdom and the power of no. So can you take us back to that season of your life when you had two kids, a full-time job, a growing business, and what did life really feel like in your body at that time with all of that going on?
Yeah, well, at that time, I was putting everyone else first, and I was saying yes to everything that I thought I should be doing. And my body actually said no. And the weight of everything that was going on literally crushed my sciatic nerve, and I couldn't move without pain. So for 6 months, I couldn't show up for anyone except for myself. And at first, saying no felt like a failure. But soon the no's like felt like freedom. So each no became an act of self-love for me, like a reminder that I actually mattered too. And around that time is when I was discovering my own human design, and I'm a generator, which is one of the 5 types of human design. And it means that I'm supposed to respond from my gut and not just from guilt. And that truth helped me release like people pleasing, and that's why I was saying yes to everything, and maybe a little bit of just because you can doesn't mean you should. So just saying yes to starting to live more like authentically for myself or from my own desires of what I wanted to do. And I learned from it that I don't think that saying no is unkind. It's actually like love in action. And that little word, that just like one little word, didn't just heal my body, it kind of brought me back to myself. And
Mm.
yeah.
Everything you just said, I love, because love inspired leadership is love in action to me. And, there's going to be people that listen to this, listen to your story, and relate it to their own lives. I mean, I said yes to everybody too. Yet, when we put ourselves on the back burner, we may not even be consciously aware that we're doing it until something happens, like that happened to you.
Hmm.
And I think our body either speaks to us or something happens outside of us that gets us to just take a pause, stop, wait a minute here. Maybe there's a better way that I can navigate through my life to honor myself. And for me, honestly, Nani, in the last 5 years of my life, I think I've been on this journey of evolution in that, to make decisions for me rather than simply taking into consideration what everybody else wants. And it's changed my life. It's changed my energy. It's changed my health. It's changed my perspective. It's changed the pleasure I get to experience in my life. It's changed the joy. So your story is really about navigating yourself back to who you are. So uh, what this is my question for you, because this is the hard part, I think. What was it like to ask for support, number one, when you never used to, I'm guessing, and then also being that still, that you had to listen to your own internal voice and what it was saying to you, because you had to surrender to it. You didn't have any other choice, right?
Hmm. Yeah. It was definitely hard for me to ask for support at first. But I realized, I mean, I just needed it. So, um, I guess I think it, I guess in my mind, a little bit in these times, you realize like I do matter too, and that I do deserve this, and I don't have to do everything for everyone. And for me, the stillness was freeing because sometimes I just want that, but I would say yes to something and then be pulled off into that direction. But I wanted the, and if I had said no, and like the times that I've said no, I felt guilty. And so I
Mm,
think some of it's the release of that guilt because I'm like, well, I can't do this. So that's just what it is. And to me, it reminded me a little bit of like when I was pregnant, where you get to like have an excuse to say no to whatever you want.
yeah, well, it's true. I just had a conversation with a friend this morning about how special I felt when I was pregnant. Like I had this human being inside of me, and I would just walk around and just celebrate how special I was. And I said to her this morning, now I walk around and celebrate how special I am, just
Just,
being
yeah,
me.
yeah,
Isn't it great? Oh my
yeah.
goodness. And, I mean, I know that you have the same desire, purpose, and passion to support women to shift from that heaviness, that hardness, that guilt, and just that protocol of just doing the same things over and over again. You want them to shift to experience that freedom too.
Yeah.
So let's look at the human design
Okay.
piece as a path back to yourself. So, for the listeners, can you just explain the human design to us and in a way that feels really accessible to them and to support them and ground them.
Yes. So I think of it as this beautiful blend of these ancient wisdoms plus modern science. And it creates a chart similar to astrology. You put in your birth date, time, and place. And it kind of tells you how your unique energy is designed to flow. And what I think of it is like it's unlike a personality test where you might be answering based on conditioned responses or how you think you are. I think human design tells you how you're actually wired to move through the world, how you best make decisions, what fuels you or what drains you, or places where you're prone to conditioning. And I don't think it's about putting you in a box or telling you who you should be. For me, it's like helps you have less resistance in your life and hopefully more ease. Yeah.
It's what I've been discovering the last 10 years. It's the resistance that drains us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, less resistance and more ease. I think every
Yeah.
single woman wants that. I do.
Yeah.
So what what does it mean um, when we can look at these? Can you just explain the different? There's five, right?
Yes.
Can you just explain each one just a little bit so people can have a
Sure.
taste of what that is?
Yes. And I like to describe kind of the role of them, and in the example of a movie set. So there's a manifester, and the manifestors are like the director. They kind of get the ball, or like the producer, I guess. They're the producer. They get the ball rolling and get the production going. And then projectors are actually the director. They're here to direct and guide people. And then there's manifesting generators and generators. But in general, they're both considered under the umbrella of generators, but there is a little bit of differences to them. Manifesting generators sometimes can multitask quite a bit more, and they're designed to find shortcuts and efficiencies. So they work a little bit differently, but in general, in the movie production, the generators would be the crew, the lights, the camera, the actors and actresses, and all the people that are working on the set to build the production. And just like a little side note, like over 70% of the population are generators. So to the other types, the world can feel like it needs to be working all the time, and they might not be built that way. They might be here to guide someone or get things going, like the manifestor projector. And then the reflector is the audience. They are here to be like the barometer of well-being, or barometer of health, I guess I would say. Like, I mean, the goal is well-being, but wherever like if they're clapping or not, like if they're enjoying the environment they're in or not, that's kind of like what their role is to feel what the health of what's going on around them.
Okay.
Um,
So, I mean, I did this testing and I thought it was really fascinating. I'm a manifesting generator, is what I discovered. And I think the whole key of it is understanding yourself and how your natural state is. Am I on the right path here? And how to function and be able to respect naturally and organically who we are, and then stay in alignment with that. Correct?
Yeah, that's the overall premise. And you can look, so you get that chart, and you could probably find new things about yourself for like, if you looked at it for like 10 hours and just kept looking at different parts of it. So the strategy, I mean, sorry, the type that we were talking about, the five types, is kind of like the top level. And it is the first thing that I think is important to learn about.
Right.
And with it, you get a strategy for each of those types. And that kind of tells you how to interact with other people and like how you're, yeah, kind of what fuels you and what drains you and how to make decisions, which I think decisions or the choices that you make determine your life. So we make a lot of decisions every day, and it's how we wake up the next day is based on what we decided in the past. So that helped me a lot to learn about that piece of it.
So here's my question, because you're a generator, you said, right? And you
Yeah,
went from, guilt to listening to your own gut, or I call it your internal voice of wisdom as a love inspired leader. And how did that change your own uh, personal self-awareness and understanding in the process of making those decisions? Because it's making, I just had a friend that on FaceTime here that has cancer right now, and he's just made a decision today. It's he goes, oh, I feel better now. But it's making the decision that you feel better, and it's building up to make that decision is where the stress is. So what I'm curious about is your own personal self-awareness around your ability and process of making decisions.
yeah. So I pause a little bit longer just so that I can feel how I feel about it.
Mm.
And there is, I don't know if it works for everyone, but I was taught the trick for generators, which is a lot of the population, I guess. But it's asking it in a yes or no format so that you can kind of feel like yes or no. And you can use different techniques for it, like the pendulum or something like that. But I learned from practice, like checking in with myself and if it like lifted me up or if it made me feel more damp. It does make you have to slow down a little bit because you are like checking in with yourself to see if you actually want to do whatever it is. So,
It's true.
um,
And it this concept of self-awareness has always been acutely important to me as a human being. And I took it for granted for a long time. And as I have grown older, I realize it's my superpower. And it has supported me in what you're talking about here is having the confidence to just go within to win, I call it, and check in.
yeah,
So is this a yes or is this a no? So I have a rule that I'd like to share with the audience. If
yeah,
it's a maybe, it's a no for now. It doesn't mean a no forever. It just means a no for now. And I always read my own energy. If I feel my energy, because that's what's really important to me, if I feel my energy uplift or raise up and it feels like a clear yes, that's an easy decision for me. I just say yes. Even if I don't
mhm,
know the parameters or how it's going to, I just know that it's the right decision for me. If it feels confusing, hard, heavy, it's going to be complicated, it's no. So
yeah,
is that part of it too?
exactly. And
Okay.
I completely agree with you that if it's a no, like if it's not a very strong, excited yes, it's a not now. And I think if you pause, it's a not now. Like if you're like, I don't know, well, yeah, maybe like if I'm talking to someone, I can tell that nope, or ask yourself a different question um, to see if there's a piece of it or something about it that might be like, is it something I want to consider? Do I need a day to think about it or something like that? You could ask yourself those and then ask again.
And sometimes I do that. I say, you know what? I'm not going to give you a decision right now. I'd like to sleep on it for 1 or 2 nights and I will follow up with you. Because sometimes we just need a bit of time to process that information. And you're allowed, you can give yourself, because I never used to. I thought I had to make decisions like this. And now I say, no, let me just percolate on that for a little bit and I'll follow up with you. So what you're really talking about is it's not about doing more, really. It's not. It's about making those decisions and choices that you mentioned that are true to us. But I think this is a great way to know yourself too.
Hmm.
Because it evolves. That's been my experience. And it creates more inner peace and calm when you give yourself permission to either stop or pause or give yourself that 1 or 2 days to make that big decision and to honor yourself. I mean, it's this concept of women honoring themselves. I mean, that's the journey that I've been on dramatically. I felt like a student. I may have graduated to university now. I'm going for my PhD. That's what I'm going for, because who we are is what we bring into a room, and it's it has so much power and presence when we function from our authentic self.
Yeah. And I know that not everyone listening is a parent, but sometimes it gets complicated for me because, in general, I don't want to be influenced by people outside myself, but sometimes I have to ask myself that different question, like, if this makes my kid happy, then am I willing to do that? So it took me a while to like kind of sort that piece out. And I guess you could say the same about like a partner, but
For
yeah,
sure. And this is a learned skill. It is, honestly. And the more that you give it some space for grace, the more you give it some exercise room to, expand and contract and be curious and have this state of wonder about yourself in that self leadership, I think it builds a stronger character. I think it is an opportunity to be a better mother and to be a better partner, a better sister, um, and a better aunt, or leader in business,
yeah,
because I think it's about self-love in leadership practice here. So what was one decision that truly changed the trajectory of your life and brought you back to yourself? Oh, I love this question.
Well, I have a little story about this. I remember this snowy day, and I was at work, and I stepped outside, and the roads were becoming icy, and I had a young kid at the time who was at daycare that was like farther away from where I worked, and felt this pull because my boss told me I had to stay at work, but my instincts were saying, go home, get my kid, take him home, and be safe. But then I had conditioned obligations to stay at work. So I was very conditioned at the time, and I stayed at work for, I don't know, like 15, maybe 30 minutes. But that gut feeling became so strong. Um, and I don't know if it's necessarily that my family came first, but I mean, that is true for me, but also like it just felt like the right thing to do. And I wanted to act on my own self-trust. And so that choice cracked something open in me. I realized how much of my life I've been living by shoulds instead of what my own sense of right is. And after I had kids, I realized that I didn't want to model um, making choices based on conditioning. I wanted to show them what self-trust really looked like. And so it really changed my viewpoint about my work, I guess. Um, and I began my journey on a more purpose-driven career where, yes, work matters, but so does my well-being and other things in my life. So,
And family. How many times did I take my kids to daycare and drop them off? I remember taking my son to grade one. I peeled him off my body. I mean, oh, it broke my heart. And, I just think as an entrepreneur, we have this opportunity to create the space and freedom to be there for our children. And it is a dedication, it is a commitment to learn things and to stretch out of your comfort zone all the time.
Mhm.
And the gifts and the rewards with our families uh, are priceless and so meaningful. So thanks for that story. Beautiful. So, why is self love, do you think, so critical when we make choices, especially for us women who are used to putting everybody else first? I mean, that's what I was so conditioned. I would just say yes, even before I even know the full dynamics of what was expected, because that was the kind, good, right thing to do. I didn't even put myself in the picture for decades and decades and decades and decades. So, why do you think it's so critical?
I think that when we don't truly value ourselves, then we'll tend to choose from fear, guilt, or old conditioning. And we'll say yes when we mean no. And then we'll be stuck in situations that actually drain our energy even more.
Yep.
And we settle for less than we deserve.
Yes.
And I think most women, and I, I'm in Generation X, and I think it's this is true for my generation, and I'm guessing for others as well. We were raised to be strong and independent, but also low maintenance. Um, and we learn to survive, but not necessarily prioritize ourselves.
Mm.
And we learn to push through and keep going, even if something didn't feel right. And I think self-love changes that. It helps us choose from confidence instead of obligation and self-respect instead of self-sacrifice. So, yeah.
Okay, just grab all that, the audience. Choosing from self respect, choosing from that place of confidence, choosing from that place of truly honoring who you are. And I just want to say from my own experience, because my life has been transformed truly in the last 6 years, really, from making that decision that my energy, I have more vitality from the second I wake up till this moment I put my head on the pillow. I sleep better. I make clearer decisions and trusting myself. So it's easy to say yes and no, or no for now, and have zero guilt. I mean, none, zero. And if I get a backlash, I just look at that situation and let them know, it's going to work out. It's going to be okay. I don't even take it on. And I think there's so much weight and heaviness that we have carried for so long that we deserve this freedom. And I think we're rewarded for it too. I do. And that's when we can have more intimate, meaningful, loving relationships with the people that matter in our life, because we can be present. We're not thinking about, oh, I should have done that differently in the past, or, oh, I said yes and I really mean no. Oh my goodness, it's going to be so hard. And so it's this projection of worrying about the past, or being fearful about having enough energy to do those things in the future. What's possible for the audience, and I just really want you to hear this, is to be in this current of life that feels like freedom, and free to just simply be who you are. That's it.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
you want to add something to that?
well, I was just going to say that I think that you are being very truthful right now because I get that feeling from you from all of our conversations, like that's how you live your life.
I do.
Even down to like you have set times, things that you enjoy doing, and there's boundaries around that, and it's it's set. Yeah.
Well, thank you. And yes, I honestly, until I turned, how old was I? This is really revealing a vulnerable truth. Until I was about 55, maybe even 60, I didn't even know what the word boundary meant. What do you mean? Well, yeah, I set boundaries. I didn't even know. And boundaries are there and set to honor oneself. And so now, and it's not been easy to learn this one, because what I would do when I was first exercising this concept, okay, here's the line in the sand. I want you to respect my time and my energy. And that person would walk over it, but I would allow that. So the next time I would let them know that this is what I'm expecting. Don't call me past 6 p.m. at night unless it's an emergency. And if it's an emergency, call me twice and I'll know that you're calling for that. But this one individual just kept stepping over. And that was a deciding factor for me, because, and once I accomplished that, and then it just started to expand and evolve. And there is an understanding of self-respect in setting boundaries. And what happens is your confidence soars, because you're not going to give yourself away to anybody else ever again. And do you know how freeing that is? That is so good. That means that I get to keep all this energy for me. I don't have to give it away. So boundaries are huge. And also, you mentioned one other thing, and that's my non-negotiables. In the morning, I get up really early, but I honor myself with journal, my voice recording, my yoga, my magnified healing, my position to go on a jog and receive nature's nourishment. I never used to do that. I have to get up early, yes, but I go to bed early too. So it just grounds me for the whole entire day. So can we talk about positive prime right now too? Because we were both at this conference on positive psychology, and I just became a certified positive prime practitioner, which I'm very, very excited about. And this is a very simple tool that supports us to just really connect within ourselves what it is that is the truth that we want. And it also has miraculous transformations in the neurotransmitters that are in our brain to shift and change the conscious mind. And it just creates this incredible platform to just feel good. So, and it's 3 minutes. It's miraculous. And when I do my positive prime sessions, I feel different after. And I think that the world has too much noise, too much stress. And this is such an incredible tool to support people. Now, I know that you have your own customized human design positive prime session online too. And for the audience, it's positiveprime.com. If you want to go check it out, feel free. So, Nani, tell me about the positive prime journey and foundation that you've been on.
Well, I watch it every morning to kind of combat the negativity that we're hit with, especially in the news these days. Um, and um, when I learned about human design, so I mean, I guess I'm just tying it to some of the work that
Great,
I
great.
do too. I I know that we pick up a lot of negative conditioning, which turns into this self-criticism. So positive psychology, which is infused into these positive prime sessions, kind of pulls you out of that and reminds us to be kind to ourselves and kind to others. And that's what actually boosts our well-being. And I think I watched two sessions before we got on this um,
Session
podcast
here.
call together. Yeah. And that's another way that I use positive prime is to kind of prime me for important things in my life before a meeting or after you've had a hard time. It's just a mood booster, and you don't
It
have to
is.
do much work. You just watch the session. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's just there to witness and to
Hmm.
receive. I mean, there's no action, which I love about it. And I love the whole science behind it. It's science based, backed, and the images are intentionally chosen. And tell us about your session that you customized your own. So tell us about that one session that you created for people to watch.
Yes, it's called Activate Your Purpose. And it doesn't specifically say human design words, but it's kind of based on the concepts that I learned discovering my own human design, just about um, yeah, the confidence in yourself and letting go things that aren't yours, and it connects you back to who you really are. Yeah, so the sessions have affirmations infused into them as well. So it's all things from my work and my life that are in there.
Beautiful. I've watched it. I loved it. And I just felt shifted. And the other part of positive prime, it feels like a shift in the embodiment of our emotional well-being too. So highly recommend it. I'll put a link into the chat of the show notes as well. Um, so your presence, Nani, your softness, and your ability to really speak authentically and in truth is inspiring to me. And I think it's a gift to your clients that you work with. I think it's a gift that you bring to your family. And I just want to thank you for reminding us the value of self love and truth, and also listening to ourselves and giving ourselves permission to be a love inspired leader in life and business, because no one is going to do it for us, is what I want the audience to realize. It is our responsibility 100%. And people think change is too hard. It isn't. It's a gradual step, one step at a time. It could be watching Nani's positive prime session. It could be having a conversation with Nani or having a conversation with me on something that you want to experience in your life. I mean, I'm with you. I think this internal voice of wisdom is always calling us forward to aim higher in our lives. And it's always there. And I think it's love that's calling us forward. That's my belief. And so I thank you for your wisdom too and your heart. So you have a gift for us, for the audience as well, correct? You want to tell them
Yes,
about that?
sure. It's called the True Yes Finder. And it aligns with everything we've been talking about because it's a mini course, but you get this powerful, practical decision-making exercise, and it shows you how to like tap into that inner knowing. You will have to practice it a little bit, but the exercise itself is like 30 seconds. So it's something you could do at any time. And it helps you figure out that yes or that desire that you want to do. And then, especially for people who are new to human design, it also explores. You have to get your chart, which you can just get free charts online. Just type in like free human design chart. I know there's one that's freehumandesignchart.com. And so that helps you look at how you make decisions through the human design lens. And there's guided mini modules focused on your unique decision-making authority. So you get a little taste of the clarity piece.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And your website's humandesigntools.com. So go to
Yes.
Nani's website, reach out to her. If you're curious about this, have a conversation. Connect with Nani because this is something that she's very purposeful and passionate. It changed her life and it can change yours too. So I want to let the audience know once again that I have my 21-day above the line living, which is my gift to you. And it's 21 days of listening to an audio clip of me in my pajamas, sharing with you about my framework, living above the line framework, and my aim high method. And it'll give you journal prompts. It'll give you reflections. So you can just be a part of contributing to this journey of aiming higher and really significantly making the decision to be a love inspired leader. I always ask one last question. So here we go. So here's the question to our listeners today. Where might one loving no create space for a truer yes for you this week? I'm going to repeat that because it's a good question. Where might one loving no create space for a truer yes this week for you to honor yourself and give yourself permission? So thank you,
Yeah, thank
Nani.
you.
And until next time, thank you for joining us on the Love Inspired Leadership Podcast.